Hello folks, welcome back to Marvelous Videos, the nerdiest corner of the internet. Today we're diving deep into the X-Men universe and listing out the weirdest and most disturbing characters we can find. Before we begin, make sure you've subscribed to our channel and tapped that bell icon so you can always stay updated with our awesome content. Let's begin.
Pay attention to the young lady. You're like totally in a video game.
Mojo. Created by artist Arthur Adams and writer Ann Nocenti, Mojo is a supervillain from the Pocket universe dubbed the Mojoverse after him. Every inhabitant of the Mojoverse is addicted to Mojo's TV shows, through which Mojo controls them. Mojo himself is an alien from the race known as Spineless Ones, called so because they cannot move themselves due to their lack of skeletons and rely on advanced technology. Mojo is served by Major Domo, an android, Sporel, a multi-armed warrior, and the Warwolves, mechanical humanoid dogs who can take on the disguise of anyone they want by wearing their skin. After finding out about the X-Men, Mojo wanted to include them in his shows to increase the ratings. He even cloned them to achieve this and dubbed them the X-Babies, but they soon rebelled and escaped. X-Men are not the only heroes to have suffered the whimsies of Mojo, as he had once sent Wolverine and Spider-Man hurtling across time. As he has no skeleton, Mojo appears like a huge blob with a bald head. He moves with the help of a carriage with mechanical spider legs that are controlled by cables coming out of his head. Filled with delusions of grandeur, Mojo has a bald head and 4 fingers on each hand. He is a manipulator who can brainwash people in a matter of moments and has a lot of magical knowledge. His carriage can fly and also has a mechanical tail that can shoot lasers. Mojo can teleport between dimensions and project blasts with the help of his magic. The strength of his magic increases with the worship of his followers, so the more people who watch his TV shows, the more powerful he becomes. Shadow King. The Shadow King was created from the very first nightmare on Earth and is a multiversal manifestation of the human consciousness's dark side. Though we don't know how long he has existed on Earth, his earliest manifestation is found in 1931, when Amal Farouk, a mutant with telepathic powers who lost his father and mother, bonded with the Shadow King after he promised that Amal would never be alone. As Amal, he worked for Hitler's agents and tried to enslave Phoenix Force, Rachel Summers, and Shadowcat, who escaped thanks to the young Logan and destroyed Amal Farouk's body. Later, he somehow spawned in Farouk's body and tried to convince Charles Xavier to join him in his criminal activities, unsuccessfully. As he is a multiversal entity, there are innumerable exploits of the Shadow King throughout the multiverse, and we're only able to scratch the surface here. The Shadow King's first appearance was in the 117th issue of the Uncanny X-Men in January 1979. Created by John Byrne and Chris Claremont, Shadow King was initially just an alias used by Farouk, an evil mutant, but it was later explained that Farouk is the reincarnation of this ancient evil. The dark side of the human consciousness is full of hedonism and greed, because of which all of Shadow King's hosts appear fat. He prefers to enslave telepaths and psychics, as their powers help him enslave others. But Shadow King has telepathic powers himself and is considered the strongest telepath on Earth, next only to Professor Xavier. He's able to possess anyone he wants to, and while in his astral form, one can only hope to harm or weaken him, as he cannot be killed. Any host of the Shadow King is blessed with a long life. Amal Farouk, for example, lived for over 400 years. Emplate. Emplate was born in Marius St. Croix in a rich, cushy family, and all his siblings, Monet, Nicole, and Claudette, were mutants. Due to his powers, Marius needed to feed on genetic material from human bone marrow, and when he fed too much, he would kill the person he was feeding from. Marius's first victim was his mother, and his grieving father threw him out. Left to fend for himself, Marius learned the dark arts and invited Monet to join him to conquer the world. Monet denied in disgust, which angered Marius, and he retaliated by trapping her in sharp diamond-like skin, creating the mutant Penance. Marius's twin sisters, Nicole and Claudette, banished him into another dimension, but Penance followed him there. Marius enslaved her, telling her that he was the only one who could cure her, and fed off her genetic material. Penance eventually escaped and joined Generation X, and was happy to reunite with her twin sisters, who had merged to become M, a mutant resembling Monet. To get her back, Marius launched an attack on Generation X, which ended with him getting imprisoned in the Academy's infirmary. Created by Scott Lobdell and Chris Bachalo, Emplate has the ability to siphon mutant energy through their genetic material and can copy their abilities because of this. After feeding multiple times from a mutant, he gains their power permanently. He can also find out everything about their power and some of their surface memories and thoughts with his psionic powers. He can travel between dimensions, but if he doesn't feed often, he is stuck in the dimension where his sisters banished him and is subjected to intense torture by the beings there. Maggot. The brainchild of Scott Lobdell and Joe Madureira, Maggot was first seen in June 1997 when he appeared in the 345th issue of the Uncanny X-Men. Maggot is a South African mutant whose digestive system is basically two massive slug-like beings named Eenie and Meenie, who go out, eat any and every substance available, and climb back into his stomach where they pass the nourishment to him. Maggot shares a telepathic link with the slugs, and he also has psychometric powers that help him see the recent past and future. This is also how Maggot gets his immense powers of telepathic resistance, strength, speed, and endurance. Maggot was named Japheth, and as a child he suffered a lot of stomach pain. Doctors deduced it to be from cancer, and not wanting to financially burden his parents, Japheth left. He was found by Magneto, who showed him the slug-like creatures in his stomach and took him back to his village. Years later, Maggot decided to seek out Magneto to ask him to be his mentor, and during this journey, he joined the X-Men. Unfortunately, he became one of the mutants executed by Weapon X at Neverland, the mutant concentration camp. But don't worry, he was soon resurrected by the transmode virus, a virus that transforms organic material into techno-organic material. Sugarman. Sugarman, the creation of artist Chris Bachalo and writer Scott Lobdell, is from a different reality where Apocalypse, one of the world's first mutants, conquered North America and established a government with only mutants. Sugarman thrived under the regime of Apocalypse and was a respected geneticist. He was placed in charge of the Seattle Corps, a slave camp, where he would carry out his twisted experiments without any interference. We don't know much about his childhood or why he earned the name Sugarman. One of the most grotesque-looking creatures in the X-Men universe, Sugarman has no torso and a gigantic head that descends to his legs. He has 4 arms and has skin-colored horns like appendages growing from his forehead. Though he might look like that due to his mutations, fans have theorized that the Sugarman might have experimented on himself, which resulted in his weird body. His tongue is his most formidable weapon, as it's strong, long, and very flexible. He can also shrink and sustain nearly any injury thanks to his advanced metabolism. The last we saw of him, he was having a day off, gambling in the Foreigner's Cafe. Toad. A creation of the OG comic master, Stan Lee, Mortimer Toynbee had a rough childhood. His parents abandoned him, and the kids at the orphanage often bullied him because of his looks and hunchback, courtesy of his mutation. Despite being intelligent, he was considered stupid as he was shy and suffered from learning disabilities. He was eventually recruited by Magneto into the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants because of his superhuman leaping ability and took on the name Toad. Though Mortimer believed that Magneto loved him, Magneto just saw him as a lackey. During his time in the Brotherhood, he developed a crush on Scarlet Witch, who was repulsed by him. Toad decided to leave the Brotherhood after he was captured with his master by the Stranger, and Magneto escaped, leaving him behind. Alone, Toad studied the Stranger's technology and used it to correct his genetic structure, which gave him more powers and handsome looks. He spent some of his time trying to abduct Scarlet Witch, and when that didn't work, he entered the Madripoor Bloodsport tournament. After having a dissatisfying life as a villain, he turned good and began helping the X-Men and went on many adventures till he was killed by Sabretooth. Toad, like his name suggests, has a long tongue that can be extended to 30 feet in length and wielded as a whip. His saliva is acidic, and he can leap to great lengths and heights. With his heightened vision, he can see the ultraviolet and infrared spectrum and has no problems seeing at night. He can also talk to amphibian creatures like frogs, newts, and salamanders, and talk them into being his spies. Marrow. Sarah, or Marrow's power, is her ability to grow bones in whatever shape she wants. Though she initially couldn't control her power, help from a Skrull medical facility and Weapon X helped her tame it. She can also cut the bones off and use them as durable weapons, though it is quite painful. To compensate for her superhuman bone growth, her body has 2 hearts. Sarah was one of the Morlocks who lived underground, and she was saved by Gambit when the Marauders led the massacre of the Morlocks. Mikhail Rasputin then transported her and other surviving Morlocks to a different dimension, which was ruled by the Darwinist philosophy of survival of the fittest. Before her powers fully developed, she was looked after by Callisto, and after, she was forced to run up the hill atop which Rasputin had established his citadel. Whoever killed their opponents and made it to the top would get a place in his elite team, the Gene Nation, whose only goal was to attack humans for hating mutants. She was an active participant in the war against humans, and after the X-Men and Generation X defeated Gene Nation, she joined the X-Men for a while. But the events of M-Day, when mutants were reduced in half due to Scarlet Witch's unstable powers, convince her to join XL, a terrorist organization that believes in the conspiracy theory that the US government was behind M-Day. Marrow seems to have chosen the right path again, as after Krakoa was established, she accepted Xavier's offer of amnesty and became a citizen of the mutant nation. Skin. Another creation of Scott Lobdell and Joe Madureira, Skin, or Angelo Espinosa, was first seen in the 317th issue of the Uncanny X-Men. Angelo Espinosa has a very unique superpower. He has 6 feet of extra skin that he can stretch, shrink, wrap, expand, and reshape. His skin appears to be a dark shade of gray. Though he can manipulate his melanin, he has given up on trying to be normal, as it gives him terrible migraines. Born in Los Angeles, Angelo has faked his death numerous times. As a young mutant, he was kidnapped by Phalanx, an alien cybernetic species who intended to conduct experiments on him, but he was broken out by Cinch, Jubilee, Sabretooth, Banshee, and Emma Frost. Angelo then joined the Massachusetts Academy for Mutants to study under Emma Frost, where he was later recruited into Generation X. The Church of Humanity, the anti-mutant organization, hunted him down and crucified him with other mutants like Magma, Bedlam, and Jubilee. He was later brought back by the transmode virus to help Selene. Glob Herman. Robert Herman, created by Ethan Van Sciver and Grant Morrison, has the uncanny ability to turn his flesh into a translucent pink paraffin, which shows off all his internal organs and enhances his abilities, giving him the name Glob Herman. Herman was born to a staunch anti-mutant father who forced him to attend rallies against mutants as a child. When his powers began to manifest, his father abused him, and his mother, unable to see her son suffer, took him to the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning. But childhood trauma barely ever leaves the sufferer alone, so he had to deal with a lot of anger issues and a lack of self-esteem. Robert was an active member of Quentin Quire's Omega Gang, a group that violently protested how humans treated mutants. After the gang's actions jeopardized the lives of students at the academy, Robert was sent to Africa to do humanitarian work. Upon returning, he joined the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning, but still struggled to find his place. After attending a class by Spider-Man, he vowed to use his powers for good. Currently, he works as a chef and a farmer in the Alaskan base of the X-Men. Gold Balls. Creators Brian Bendis and Chris Bachalo gave Gold Balls the weird ability to generate different-sized balls of gold whenever he wished, from whichever part of his body. Each time they hit something, they make a poink sound. It's later revealed that the balls are actually infertile eggs, making his superpower even more uncanny. The real name of Gold Balls is Fabio Medina, and he had a normal childhood in California, living with his parents and sister. Fabio found out about his ability when he was getting robbed. When the cops showed up, they try to arrest him, not hearing any explanation, but Cyclops intervenes and rescues him. Fabio joined the X-Men after this, albeit reluctantly, and had a lot of adventures under the mentorship of Shadowcat and Illyana. He later changed his superhero name to Egg and joined the Five after Krakoa was established. Marvelous verdict. Some of the characters in the X-Men universe sure have some crazy powers. We're especially weirded out by Mojo, the blob-like supervillain. Which character do you think has the creepiest power? Did we leave out any of your options? Let us know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please make sure to leave us a thumbs up. We'll be back soon with another awesome list. But until then, take care and goodbye.